Y'all, it has been a long time coming. Like, I feel like we haven't seen or talked in years. Like, it's been years.
We did change the whole calendar year.
We did.
It's been years.
It's 2023, y'all.
Yeah.
Like we need
Life
to be
has
saying
happened.
happy birthday, happy Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year,
Happy graduation.
Happy graduation.
I mean, people done birth babies. Hi, new baby.
Congratulations on the next pregnancy. Like,
We're happy for you.
we are so
Happy
happy for you.
engagement. Happy anniversary.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
people
All the
like new
things.
chapters. New chapters.
So many.
Yeah.
New
So
seasons.
many, new seasons.
Mhm.
Also, like, we are also doing something a little different where you actually get to, like, see us. And so that's different. They wanted me to act a fool on camera and do, like, you know what? But anyway, y'all still actually got me to do it. But yes, we're doing something different. So you're not just gonna see us, like, you're also gonna see us, but we're gonna be in audio, like.
You have some
It's
range
exciting.
of options.
Yes.
For how you get to interact.
It's a
Yes.
full experience.
Yes.
Yes.
You
We want to
gotta-
make this more personal.
Yeah, we thought it was important that you saw our interactions, like our expressions,
Our
as we-
personalities.
as we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
life and the things that has been going on with us.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are, and we're ready to share. We are ready to share.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of thinking about what this next season is gonna look like,
Yeah.
and I'll give y'all a chance to kind of.
I think what's significant in it too is like we talked about how much life has happened for other people
Yes.
and like how much we're in a new calendar year, but we have also just been lifing in a lot of ways. Life has been
We have been
progressing,
lifing.
right? We have been evolving and growing and
Yes.
experiencing so many different parts of our lives, so many different stages of transition going on. So this is a huge part of what our conversation is going to look like
Yeah.
together.
We've it's really crazy how we are all at 3 different stages of life,
Mm-hmm.
sort of in schooling.
Yes.
And somehow we find ourselves in the same season while in different seasons.
Mhm.
So like with very similar experiences, struggles, highs and lows, those kinds of things, while navigating 3 different kind of arenas of life.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We want to be intentional about sharing what those journeys look like, how we've navigated through it, with the ups and downs, and the ways that we even noticed ourselves differently as we've navigated through. Have a real conversation
Yes.
about all of that.
Yeah. So I guess with that being said,
Yeah, because we keep beating around
we
the bush.
beating around the bush.
We need to tell y'all what we're going to talk about.
Yes, we need to tell you the theme for this season is life in the valley. And yes, it sounds a little dreary, but
It's real.
it's real. Like we're gonna walk you through.
Mhm.
And I guess Lisa, you could tell us a little bit about
So
what's the definition?
by definition, valley is defined as a elongated, low area often running between hills or mountains, which will typically contain a river or stream running from one end to the other. Most valleys are formed by erosion of the land surface by rivers or streams over a very long period. Some valleys are formed through erosion by glacial ice. Y'all got to hear my reporter voice for a little bit.
Glacial.
Glacial. I hope I said that right, y'all.
It's right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so clearly that's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's so much that can be pulled out even from that mouthful. Google be coming through, okay, with these definitions, and Google will speak to you about your life.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we first looked at this,
Mhm.
we heard the definition. It was just like, ooh, I feel like I got hit all over again. So yeah, life has been, I think for all of us, lots of transitions, comes with lots of emotions. The good thing for y'all is that I think we've always been authentic. We've always been real.
Yeah.
This season is giving us an opportunity to be even more authentic because life has been lifing.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that it's not just for us, but it's for y'all as well. And so we wanted to really get into like how we've been navigating this season. What does that look like? And even some of the complexities of like, it's sometimes a valley or it is the valley, but it's not always bad, right? That like we're finding these sparkling moments in the valley. And so we can dive into some of what that has looked like.
Yeah, I think what's been interesting is how organic the conversation. I wish like y'all could have seen like the off camera process that we had as we were putting all of these things together, because it just came like pew 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 pew.
Yeah. Had the same thought in my head. Like light bulb moments.
Right. Yeah. And so I was sitting here Googling, we think about songs, we think about scriptures, all the different things that we will talk some more intentionally about throughout the podcast. But it was just interesting to see how powerful language is when we can find like the right label to kind of explain what our journeys and our experiences are looking like. And so even in Danielle, like making mention of like a valley doesn't have to be a bad thing. No. Oftentimes valleys are communicated to us as being a bad thing, being a desolate time of like dreariness. And it doesn't have to completely be that way. There are a mixture of emotions and a mixture of experiences that we can have, but we also need to be intentional about finding.
Yes.
We need to find that living stream. We need to find those greenery, and we need to actually allow for ourselves to be mindful of those things in the midst of the valley. So I'm excited for this conversation and what will evolve even in our process as we continue to become more aware of ourselves in this particular season of our lives.
Yes. So much of our conversation is going to be a lot of how has God met us in the valley as well. And so as I was actually like reflecting this morning and like, what is the thought that keeps coming to my mind when I think of just life in the valley? It's been, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for like God is with me. And so that is definitely going to be a reflection of how we process and think through everything. And as we explained to you guys, and like Lisa said, like, we're going to be processing. And I expect to have light bulb moments as we talk through this. Like, I am just coming out the valley. Let me be honest. This is not me freshly on the mountaintop. No. Like, I am getting to the mountaintop. But yeah, this is going to be pretty raw on my end.
As you described that picture, you just like crawling.
No!
like a mud crawl.
Yeah.
I was, I'll be honest. As we were talking about this and the word valley came up, I was like, I don't like this. But I realized, number one, that I had to sit with the reality of what the season has been. And number two, in that I think, so you highlighted Psalm 23, right? And so growing up and reading Psalm 23, I would read that passage and I was like, this feels like death, right? I feel like I read the scripture and there's like a black cloud that looms over your head. And I've come to the realization that oftentimes the focus is the valley of the shadow of death. And that's not the point of the scripture or the experience, right? That the point of the experience of the valley is not to dwell on the valley, but who God is and has been in the valley. So, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for he is with me, right? And so that being the key part of like why I'm able to have hope is because he is with me. I can do hard things because
that's it. Hand on chest.
Yes, because
out here.
Look at my sweatshirt. I can do hard things.
Yes, stop saying yes.
I can do hard things because he is with me.
Come on, somebody.
So yeah, that really transformed some of how I look at the valley experience, and not looking at it as like a disadvantage, or a low place, although it is one physically, but more of a maybe a launching place.
Ooh,
okay. Maybe a launching place.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that right there too highlights, like I think a bit of what I was thinking about earlier with like the intentionality of what it looks like to live in the valley, because it can feel like an all-encompassing experience where it's like all of it just feels dreary and feels hard. It just feels like I can't do anything. I feel immobile. And it takes intentionality. It takes the strength of God. It takes community. It takes so many different elements to help us to actually be able to see like good things can happen out of this. I can see some element of gleam of hope. I can see God. I can see peace. I can see joy. And as I was just looking at the scripture again, and what I love about Psalm 23 is how much it's communicating to me how God is He's a partner, and he is with you. He is joining you. He wants to be a part of the process. And for me, I think that is just so important in this season of life of like seeing God as a shepherd. He's covering me.
Mm-hmm.
He is providing me with all that I need. And he's also guiding me into places that will provide me with the nourishment that I also need in the midst of the experience.
Yeah.
Like really taking time to really break down the scripture. It's like,
It's good, bro.
God, thank you for being so good to me.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to be as transparent as possible too, because a lot of the podcasts, or like the things that we're going to be talking about over the next several weeks, is also highlighting the times when we felt like we didn't feel God in our spaces.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll definitely get into that, but I don't want to put on the front either of like, oh, we saw God in every aspect of everything.
Yeah.
Because I know he was there, but let me tell you,
Child.
I didn't feel like he was there. I didn't
No.
feel like I felt him. It was only now looking back, I'm like, whoa, that really was God.
Mhm.
But
Child.
yeah, there were times when I was like, it's low for me.
You know, imagery wise, I think about when people like in boot camp, right? And they have to like
Yeah, the mud. No, that's what I said earlier. The mud crawl.
Right. I was thinking about the mud crawl. The more and more we keep talking about it, I think about like getting down like in the stinkiness of the mud.
That's what it's
Like
been.
face in it, like just smeared in it. And you're just crawling, man.
Yeah.
And you're trying to see the end of the process. But it just feels like sometimes you just get stuck in the mud, you get tired, and you just lay there for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Or you are able to you're able to recalibrate, get to motivation, you're able to crawl a little bit more. You might catch a cramp, but so you gotta pause for a second and let your body regulate. You know,
A whole cramp,
y'all. Because that's work. It's work being in the mud.
It
It
really
is work.
It's tiring on the body.
It really
the body
is.
need to rest. The body
Yeah.
need to stop for a minute. And that's
It
the
is
true
work.
honesty of the process.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, sometimes your body just literally needs to stop, or it will stop itself.
Yes. It will
And
stop
won't
for
our
me.
bodies stop themselves?
That's
Praise God.
that's rock bottom.
Yeah. As Gailey said earlier, was talking about Psalm 23 and God being our guider, being our shepherd. I remember the part. So, like I said, there's different parts of the definition of valley that like will just like punch you. This part says that it typically contains a river or stream running from one end to the other. And I remember like reflecting on like God is the shepherd, and I think God is the stream, right? Like God is present in the refreshings of like I'm in this mud crawl, and if I can get myself to this stream, right? It's glimmers of hope, right? Where I'm not on the mountain, but the stream is able to give me refreshing in a way that allows me to keep going. And most definitely, God has been a refreshing in the midst of the valley. There's been, I think, many times where we're navigating and it feels like a desert. And even amongst the three of us, it is just like, we all in this, and I don't really know what to say to you except like, me too. Like, I don't have answers for the places that we find ourselves, but it's a me too experience. And so being able to find God in that has been just the push that is needed, I think, to continue in the mud crawl until we find ourselves to the mountaintop. So in diving into our own personal places. So we've been talking like conceptually, thematically.
Can't you tell we're therapists?
No,
a little bit.
As I tried to talk, I was like, oh, didn't your therapist self is stepping in.
We can't hide. That's all
we've
right.
been talking about this thematically, but obviously, as we are like chiming in and retweeting, we have our personal experiences within this. Being people who love to use the emotions wheel, I think all three of us with our clients.
Love it.
What are some of the experiences, emotions that you think have been prevailing for you, me included, in this season?
You better put me in the therapist chair.
Y'all can tell my dirty face
Wait.
that it's been a time.
The first one that comes to mind is desperation. That's the first one that comes to mind. Yeah, just being desperate to find answers, desperate to know, be in the know. Just yeah. Desperation.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think desperation hits, and oftentimes in piggybacking, it is desperation that I think often leads to frustration. And so like I am desperate and I feel desperately stuck.
Yeah.
And I want to not be in this place.
Yes.
But I'm still here and I'm still desperate.
Yeah.
Which leads to a large level of, if we're talking about the valley, thirst. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm desperate for some kind of something.
Nourishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm looking here at the wheel.
You're looking at the wheel.
Yeah, I wanted to be, you know, specific. But guess what? I'm looking at the portion here, right? That's like bad. It's just labeled bad as the core emotion in the middle. And I'm like,
that ain't a good one, man.
This reads. That reads. I'm like, I felt all of the emotions that are like in that green sector of bad. But obviously at different points and different things trigger them. But I think the greatest emotion that I felt is just like unfocused. And I felt unsettled. A huge season of unsettling. I at one point was telling Daniela, I was like, I don't even know what it feels like to feel settled in my life. And as Journey was describing earlier about like what the valleys just kind of look like for her, I think for me now, I wouldn't say that I'm like necessarily out, but I'm like, I go in and out. It's an ebb and flow where I feel remnants of what the valley feels like, but I have a greater sense of understanding and meaning and hope that was a struggle point before, that is helping to hold me, where before I just did not feel held. I just felt like I was just surviving on autopilot. I really don't know how I was maneuvering, but yeah. That unsettledness, I'd see how it led to a lot of this, what kind of just felt like questions of just not struggling to recognize myself.
I'm going to take a
in
risk.
all honesty.
I'm going to take a risk and ask you a question.
Yeah.
Does it feel like you're coming out of the valley, or like you have found nourishment, refreshing, and ways to not just survive, but like ways to manage and kind of hold steady in the valley? Yes.
To the latter part, I think I'm still in it per se, like somewhat, but I have definitely found like more, I found meaningful nourishment to sustain me while I'm in it.
Yeah.
Whether that might be like my perspective and concept of God, which we've been working through, y'all. You know, through my concept. I felt
that in my spirit.
You know, me and God, we've been working through it. Whether it might be through relationships, whether it might be through my personal self-concept, whether it might be my desire to control the future and to know and to have certainty about the future. All of that is still present. It's still in a work in progress. But, you know, recently for me, I found, and I'll talk more about this as we go through the episodes, but I think I've been intentional too with like creating a posture that in the valley that I think is helping to sustain me now. And that posture for me looks like a posture of surrenderance. And it looks like increased invitation of the things that have been fearful for me, which I think has helped to shape my perspective of life, my perspective of myself differently. But that doesn't mean like I don't go back and forth. I still remember where I came from. I remember.
It wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
It's kind of still creeping.
It'd be right there.
How do you forget?
Okay, I don't forget. I don't forget where I came from. I don't act brand new.
No.
Yet. I'm working towards it.
As you said, sustain. I remember was it last season, I think, where you sang Sustain by Transmission? In the middle of the storm, you remain the same.
Oh my gosh.
Through the rain.
I gotta bring that song back.
Through the rain, still you reign.
My God.
You sustain. These words, yeah, they're really good.
For y'all who don't know though, that is a song that Transformation Church released, I don't know, maybe
in the pandemic,
2
like,
years, 3
I
years
think,
ago?
yeah, I think it was late. I think it was late fall.
3 years ago? Not the Bonnie. Stop that. Not the
I think it was late fall 2020 in the pandemic, or early 21. And it really, I mean, they were, I think, referring to the pandemic. But I think for us, it has been the like theme of the season. But yes, and you finding kind of these spaces, it sounds like we talked about before that water is in the valley, but also the valleys often are not credited for being some of the most lush places in nature. Yeah. Right? Yes, it is not just like water and mud, although it feels like water and mud. Yeah. But it is the most lush place that we can find nourishment from in order to keep going in this process. So yeah. For me, I think the prevailing word, along with taking all of these, has been uncertainty. I just, for all of the things, and so we forgot to mention, right now, or we can say like by the time you see this,
yes.
right? By the time you see this,
yes,
I will have graduated from the PhD program.
Somebody cue the music. Cue the music. I don't know why that was a sound that really made no sense. Not the but the clapping emoji.
This is us in the raw, y'all.
Clearly.
Y'all,
So,
I love a random sound effect, okay?
Yes. So I am weeks away from graduating from the PhD program. Duranique is
weeks away. Well, I'll be graduating with you from graduating from the master's program in marriage and family therapy, which is literally insane for me to say because I can't believe two years
have flown
by.
Yes.
I was talking to like my aunt yesterday and she was like, this ain't the same program you started 2 years ago.
I
said, yes, it is.
Quick so and undo.
Yes.
And then Gay Lisa.
I still am.
Ain't nothing really changed.
Y'all, all right. So anyway, Gay Lisa's still here, but from where you saw her, she is a year away from graduating from the PhD program. Give yourself your props. My God. So anyway, so in this process, or in the last, I guess, year, it's been a lot of questions, right? This is the time whenever transitions come, everybody got all the questions. So what you gonna do now? So you gonna move? You gonna stay here?
Leave me alone.
You gonna keep working in private practice?
Listen.
And I'm just like, I don't know. And so it's been a lot of uncertainty with navigating all of the I don't knows, as well as like, I think it's uncertainty, and I think what feels similar to Gay Lisa's unsettling of like, it doesn't completely feel like where I need to be in its fullness, but I don't know what that looks like. And so I'm trying to find it. And, it's kind of feeling a little wildernessy. It's feeling a little, go to the place that I've promised you, and I'm walking through the wilderness, and I'm like, again, God sustains, right? With giving manna each day. But it's feeling very like, all right, God, I'm trying to go by your leading, and I don't really know what that is. I'm used to, and I like a clear, like, go to Lee University. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yes.
I will pick up and leave and go to Lee. Now it's just like, go. And I'm like, go where?
Yeah.
Go with who? Go to what?
Yes.
So yes, all of that has been the prevailing thing, which feels very uncomfortable.
Yes.
But yeah.
When you had talked about like people asking you, like, what are you going to do next? I think at one point I started telling my classmates, respectfully, just don't ask me. Because
I don't know.
I was like, I can't, like, I don't know. I don't know. And it's honestly more stressful that you asking me than I don't know.
And the thing is, like, genuinely from their perspective, it feels like a natural course of action, the question to ask.
Yeah.
But I also think sometimes people don't take into account how emotionally daunting that question can be, because I think they're genuinely wanting to check in
for sure, like, and
so it takes active conversation of like,
I
know, but like I need time, this is overwhelming.
I'm not there. Like, and shout out to my cohort, because they are amazing people and they took it well, most of them. Every time I said something I was like, yo, I can't do it right now. But
you gotta talk about your boundaries in the process.
That's next episode.
Stay tuned.
Yes. There's definitely been boundary shifts, and we're there.
Yeah, I think a thing that's an experience that is prevailing throughout the valley is the stretching process, and I think in all that we're describing, it's a like stretching. Yes. But what am I stretching into? I don't really know. Right, like I'm on the potter's wheel. Y'all gonna see. I'll use a lot of imagery, both in life and with my clients. But like, it feels like the clay on the potter's wheel, and like you're being made. I'm like, I don't know what this is going to go into, but like you're being slapped. Yeah. You're being slapped with lots of water and stretched and formed and all the things. What are you going to be? I don't know. It might be a vase. It might be a plate. I have no idea. But yeah, it's really been quite a thing.
Yeah. I appreciate the fact that we even have the space to have this conversation. Because I think in the midst of going through the process too, it can feel isolating and lonely, and being able to, one, share this with our listeners, but also being able to share this with each other, I think also helps to solidify those aspects of like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But also just brings a sense of realness and normalcy to the fact of like, yeah, this is hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
These seasons of life are hard. Going through these programs are hard.
Yeah.
The thing we do for a living, it can be hard.
It is
Okay?
hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've got to be honest in the midst of that. And
I think especially in the roles that we play in our communities, on campus, in the world, we, the three of us, are in consistent leadership positions.
that is true.
We are always being called, not in a prideful way, but like we are being called to share, to do workshops, to lead something, to teach,
to create,
to build a curriculum, to present things, to do some kind of conference. Like there's always some way of leading, even in like supervision and those kinds of things. And I appreciate that this space gives us the opportunity to be authentic and to be seen as like not someone on a high pedestal who has it all figured out.
Yeah.
But we are people too.
Yes.
And life be lifing for us too.
Young Harris used that term plenty.
Life
be life.
Life be lifing. Because it has.
Yes. Yeah. With all that we have said, we are extremely excited to continue this journey and to continue the conversations that we've been having. And like Lisa said, like you've been hearing us for 2 seasons now, and hopefully with this season you can continue to support us and listen to us and tell your friends about our podcast and continue to just hear us out. This is booked, bus, and busy in the raw.
Yes.
I
like that addition.
Yeah.
And I hope in the midst of the journey, as well as we engage in these conversations, that it also opens up doors for you to navigate through what your journeys might look like. This is an invitation for you to join us in the midst of our journey and our experience, in the midst of what the valley looks like for you. And we look forward to hearing about it. If you want to share it with us, if not, that's also fine. We just want to invite you into our experience. And we hope that it is a blessing in some form or fashion. So definitely share, reflect, let us know how you're engaging with the content and all the things. So
Yes. So thank you for listening to us, and we're back. Like we're back. We have resurfaced. We're back. We are back. Thank you so much, guys, for just being here and tuning in. And it's about to be a crazy ride. Let's go.
Hey.
We should just do it.
I should say go.